Ladies, gentlemen, and everybody else, welcome to the 2022 LEC Summer Playoffs. My name is Quickshot, joined at the cast of this for the first best of 5 of Europe by Nymaera and Caedrel. The Ready Check just set up all of the stakes, the history between these two teams, but we haven't seen them play for 2 weeks. So Nymaera, I want to turn immediately to the draft. What are you expecting? What are the priorities you're looking for? And what do you really want to see from these teams?
So bear in mind, we are hitting your new patch a little later than everyone else. We don't know what's been prepared in the background, but the power picks coming off of the last patch were things like the Poppy, things like the Sylas, things like the Taliyah, and they're all very good blind picks too. They've had high power, but they've also been safe to pick in pretty much any situation.
Definitely have. You can see on your screen there Renekton, who got a little bit of buffs, and other top laners around him got nerfed as well, so he's risen in priority in the LPL. Renata is almost like a first pick there as well, so a lot of priority picks to look at. Even Kennen looks a bit stronger. The LPL's playing Fiora and Jax, so depends what kind of meta both these teams are coming into playoffs with, because if you remember, a lot of the times you're in a scrim bubble, and if you're in the winning scrim bubble or losing scrim bubble, that can hurt your playoffs performance in the first best of 5.
And of course, we're starting playoffs a little later than everybody else. We've seen LCS, LCK, LPL playoffs. If you're watching earlier today, Kennen Nocturne was popping off on the LPL broadcast. But Nymaera, talk to me about Zeri. What do you expect for this one? These two teams have historically this summer had polar opposite approaches.
Well, Zeri's kind of been the iconic AD carry of this split in a lot of ways.
Iconic,
No words for it. I'm being kind this time. But funnily enough, Rogue have not delved into it. They've not played a single game of Zeri in summer. Question is, do they not play it, or have they been preparing it? Have they been hiding it away for a little while? Can they bring it out today?
Well, quick stat on that one. 8 bans on Zeri for Rogue. Whereas on the other side for Mad Lions, they have played Zeri 7 times. So do they or don't they? It's not a question of can they. It's a question of what prep have they had. Now, Caedrel, what are your expectations for this? I can see the players on stage were moments away from draft. Rogue obviously had side selection. They've picked blue. That's been the trend that we've seen for several weeks now. What is the priority in your mind?
I think it's probably mid-jungle for both these teams, but in terms of 1, 2, 3, I'm expecting jungle bot lane most cases. You know, like a Wukong Lucian Nami could go for something like a Renata Kalista with a jungler like Poppy. There's going to be jungle bots in most of these early rotations, unless in series, sometimes a meta can be built in a series. You know, if they play Ornn and you think it's strong, you play Ornn and you win, then you actually go towards that trend and you'll see game 4s and 5s where Ornn's first picked.
Well, we'll find out what happens as we're loading into draft for game 1 between Rogue and Mad Lions.
You know how the saying goes, no plan survives first signs of battle, and I think the drafts are going to be fairly similar today in regards to that. There are so many ways that this could go differently. I'm really looking to see what the safe blind picks are. I know you're talking about that jungle and the bot lane potentially being picked up a little bit earlier. I actually wonder if we're going to see some counter picks in the support and the jungle, because those 2 players on both of these teams have been so influential about how they play the early game.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because you brought up the Zeri point, you know, saying the comp hasn't played Zeri, but then on the flip side, Unforgiven hasn't played Lucian yet. There's no Lucian Nami from Mad Lions, so one team lacking the Zeri lane, one team lacking the Lucian lane. That Draven ban and that Lulu ban makes me think that Lucian will be first picked here for a Nami.
Yeah, and that's a pressure lane, right? And it's not, and pressure lanes aren't something which Mad Lion have been averse to, right? They've played stuff like the Draven themselves, obviously that's banned away, but it's not like they haven't played kill lanes. It's just a specific Lucian Nami which has got its own little dynamic in it, which they haven't delved into. But you're right, maybe we can see a butting aheads in the 2v2.
Definitely, and also have to look towards jungle. You know, Poppy already taking away. When you think of the top tier junglers right now, you think of Poppy, Wukong, and Trundle is almost like that holy trinity. And Vi has slaughtered herself in there, dependent on comp. You know, if you give over a first pick Zeri, Vi is a great one too. But have to be careful while you're picking it, because certain champs can interact really well against the Vi.
Question I'm going to have as well is, does Yuumi find herself in the bans? Will she be allowed through a little bit more? I feel like we've seen her a little more regularly in the past couple of weeks of games from around the world. Mad Lions have taken their time. All 3 bans, man, are running this one time, really thinking it out. But Yuumi's the big question for me. Zeri's still open as well.
Yeah, Zeri, Yuumi, Sivir, Yuumi, Lucian, Nami. There's a couple bot lanes up. Renata is a first pick champion if you can play Kalista on 2-3. They've banned away Corki from Larssen. Yeah. That's an interesting one.
But that means you have left up that Yuumi. You've left up a lot of power picks. If you're going to ban away these kind of specific pocket picks, you let something through. It overloads the draft. The question is, if you're expecting that, which which it should get locked in here, do you have an answer to? Do you have one of those kill lanes, which you've played through before? It's the classic response. Look, we agree too, but it is the right pick.
It is indeed in this situation. Now, does Mad have a Lucian Nami? We haven't seen it yet. Is that something they want to play into the Yuumi? Do they want to take away the Sivir? Do they think Zeri Nautilus could work here? And a Phelios lane would be interesting too. They are going to show us a Lucian Nami for the first time this split. That's going to get locked in. Now, the question is, do they pick their jungler here as well? You know, Lucian Wukong, Nami on 3 could work. If you want to save your jungler and get a counter pick on 3, that's always an option to respond if they pick something like a mid laner.
2 quick things on this one. This is Unforgiven's second ever professional Lucian game. The first time he played it, it was a loss. On the side of Trymbi, he has 10 games played on the Yuumi, 7 of which are victorious. So the Yuumi will be now played into by Lucian Nami. A little bit of a surprise, not something that we were anticipating, but this is what we were expecting with a 2-week break.
But the thing for me is that the more surprising thing is why are they picking them together now when they have the red side? Maybe it's because of this, because they want to see what the rest of the draft is starting to shape up with Rogue, right? You can lock in something like a power pick jungler instead of that Nami on pick 2, but they choose to leave it. You see the Jarvan Renekton, which is huge topside early game playmaking. It gives them some room to reconsider.
Wow, they've just dropped their AD carry straight to 4-5. They've got Twitch, they've got Ezreal, they've got Zeri, they've got Sivir, they've got 4
more
AD
than
carries.
2 bans.
So you can easily pick up an AD carry there. Ornn response into the Renekton won't win the lane, but it's going for more of a teamfight-oriented style for Mad. They want to play more towards bot side now. Can they get Nisqy on something that can roam around? He needs to find a champion here that can interact well against the Jarvan.
So actually in the games which Rogue have played against Mad Lions this summer, when they went there, of course they beat them the 2 times, actually Odoamne has done very well into Mad Lions by having a good just leave it on its own matchup, and the Renekton into the Ornn. That actually plays into one of the ways that Odoamne has impacted this specific matchup this summer. Interesting seeing how that will play out in game 1.
Definitely will. Now the bans coming in, they're going to try to target some of those ADs. Sivir taken away, maybe they take Zeri out as well to stop the amount of scaling that's coming through. Wukong from Rogue's side. I think another Trundle ban could be pretty good here for Rogue.
Yeah, but I'm also looking at something like a Sylas being really big on either side this game as well. I think it's something which, I mean, you look at the Renekton and the Jarvan, not the best Yuumi carriers on the side of Rogue, and you've got stuff like the Ornn ult to steal too. So I think that Rogue will want it, Mad might want to take it away.
I think Rogue should ban Vi here. Mad Lions are spelling themselves out a little bit too much because they're saying we're going to take away Ezreal and Sivir. 2 champs are actually really good into Vi. Only really lost one there is Xayah, so Rogue read it well, and I think they're going to go for Trundle now. It would make the most sense, but almost fell into Mad Lions' trap there of saying have Zeri, have Twitch. Vi is just going to run them down.
And of course, Mad Lions have played so heavily through Elyoya getting agency, getting a good matchup, and banning away some of those champions to just run through the game. Elyoya has been so good this summer. So getting that Trundle, if it is going to be locked in here, and it is another kind of I can run at you matchup very early and also still have impact in fights.
I wonder if this Renekton could be a flex as well. We'll have to see. We've seen Renekton go towards mid too. I expect it to go top for Odoamne. There's the Zeri, there's the Sylas you were talking about as well. So taking away that Ornn ult, even the Nami, the Trundle, all of it can work.
Because every time I see Sylas into Trundle, I just think, oh heck, why would you let that happen? Because you pick this really tanky scaling topside thinking, you know what, when we get to those team fights, Trundle, Ornn, you're never going to kill him. Sylas comes in, steals your subjugate, and one of your tanks is down. And there's a lot of good lockup to make that happen even easier.
What is Nisqy's pick? Taliyah would be great. Yeah, he's going to hover it now, but into Jarvan, it just stings a little bit because you're playing in a mobile AD. Something like LeBlanc or Ahri would have been great, but against the Sylas, he is going to go for the Taliyah roam around. You can see a clear win condition in Mad Lions' game, right? It's all about bot lane, top lane in isolation, just as you talked about. Whereas Rogue also, I think, will try to match bot side, but take the fact that top will win in isolation as a one-up, that the game's even, they're ahead.
Yeah, but I actually look at what Rogue have got, and I look at their tops, their solo laners. I think actually they've got pretty stable situations. Renekton typically does well into Ornn. Sylas, you put a couple of points into your queue, you can start forcing the Taliyah to kind of take less good trades. I think Rogue can play through strong lanes this game as well, as long as bot lane manages to survive in isolation.
No huge surprises on the top half of the map, but that bot lane, I mean, we specifically talked about the Zeri, the Lucian. What do these teams prepare? Do you favor in terms of play style as well as composition? Is it a surprise to you what we've seen thus far?
Not so much. With a week-and-a-half break of scrims and being the last region to play on this patch, they've got so much, a plethora of information to work with, and they need to be diverse in these best of 5. Showing their hand this early that they can play these champions will help them moving forward.
That is huge. We need to see how the meta develops within the case of the best of 5. We just saw the coaches fist bumping on stage right next to the trophy. Game 1 of our summer playoffs begins right now. Rogue and Mad Lions have faced each other 27 times. It is one of the most featured matchups in playoffs for teams not included Fnatic and G2. Which one of these teams will get to the upper final? Will block their ticket to Worlds, will lock their ticket to Malrang, and take one step closer to picking up the trophy? Welcome to Summoner's Rift. Shenanigans are afoot, Caedrel, as Mad Lions are barreling down the bottom lane.
Elyoya could start Pillar here if they want to look for the Yuumi, but I think Trymbi just saw them. Interesting thing to note here, just looking at runes, Malrang running Phase Rush on Jarvan. Normally you see that on things like Poppy and Skarner, and you normally kind of go for Conqueror on Jarvan, but I think he's accepted that he's going to lose the 1v1 against Trundle anyway, and that's his way of getting out.
Yes, it's another Malrang special. In Spring, he was playing a lot of the First Strike, maybe going towards the Spellbook. He had a lot of different ways of kind of taking in runes on that champion, but the way he plays it is still very exceptional, right? You can argue about the rune choices and whether they are useful in the ways that he wants them to be. But in this game, particularly when you have a lot of champions which kind of stick you into the fight, when you're going into a Taliyah and you don't quite hit the mark, you're like, oh, okay, that's kind of a bad place to be. Same with the Trundle, same with the Ornn. I think that Phase Rush can give you that extra survivability in some of those clutch fights.
Definitely can, and I'm looking at the level 2 and 3 here for both these junglers. They've got lanes with really good setup. You know, I think a level 2 top gank could work for either side, level 2 bot gank could work, even mid for Malrang onto Nisqy.
And with that top thing that you're actually mentioning there, I mean, of course, when you have an early pressure champion like the Renekton, which is starting to show up again, if Renekton gets a lead, the Ornn can really struggle to survive at that point. And on the other side, because Ornn needs a little bit of help to get through that early laning phase, it weighs double if the junglers impact that.
Exactly, and that's the whole point of the level 2 gank in a sense, or putting resource in that lane. You know, if Malrang goes mid and gets Nisqy's flash, and all of a sudden this matchup that's winning for the Taliyah now becomes slightly even or a bit tough to get the push in. So it's all about finding the pressure where it needs to be put.
One thing I just want to briefly talk about is this Taliyah pick in particular. It's something that Larssen started to pick up towards the end of summer, and frankly, didn't have the impact that I think we would have expected or liked to see. But when I think about Nisqy, frankly, his Taliyah performance is what really is galvanized the way he plays with Mad, impacting the side lanes. I mean, look at the jungle proximity. Over 11 percentage points differences. Look at the forward percentage. More than 11% more time spent forward on the front foot. So that roaming, pushing playstyle really suits Nisqy.
And there's actually a really great story about this too. A couple of years ago, of course, Nisqy went to Worlds in 2019, played against FPX with Trymbi as well, and a lot of scrims. And he said after that in an interview, wow, this guy is so good, I want to play like him. And you know what he's doing now in Summer? He's kind of playing like how he wanted to back then. To see that evolution as this player is really inspiring to see.
Even seen some Nocturne in his solo queue, so maybe we're in for a little bit of a treat in this best of 5 as Malrang dings over to level 3, gonna EQ over here, see what the Trundle's been up to. He knows that Red and Raptors are probably down, so Trundle's bot side. And here's that early mid gank to try and get Nisqy's flash to relieve pressure mid. Can he land the knock-up? Nisqy respecting it a little bit. He should know that the enemy jungler's top side.
Oh, the stun connects. The flag drag flash is available. Not going to be used instead. Nisqy's burning below 100 HP. Flash was blown, and exactly what you talked about, Caedrel.
Yeah, Malrang went for an EQ flash there, but I think he blundered it a little bit. Actually missed Nisqy with the knockup. If that hit, I think they would have got the kill.
It's a bit of a timing thing. I'd love to see how that worked out on the replay. But the end of this is, you now have a Taliyah without flash. You have a Jarvan that can go forward, and then the Sylas can flash onto them too. It's still a dangerous situation for Nisqy. So Elyoya, Kaiser, someone needs to come mid and make sure that Nisqy is shepherding these waves into tower at the correct moment, because he's going to struggle to do that himself now.
Yeah, see Elyoya just hovering around, helping him get the wave in, and because Malrang invested time in that gank, it's given Elyoya double crab and mid lane XP, so he's gonna ding over to level 4, so small jungle advantage over to Elyoya. This top matchup we expect to be winning in isolation for the Renekton, especially when he gets that Blade of the Ruined King. It just sways so heavily in his favor.
Yeah, and of course that's been the real change for Renekton. It's not kind of going towards like all the Gore Drinker stuff anymore, it's going towards some of the tankier mythics. You get a Blade as well, and you just become really hard to get rid of and just manage to stick around, plus you still have that strong early game. So speaking of that early game, now we have this Trundle who's starting to get a little bit accelerated back up onto the map. I'm actually wondering what Elyoya can start doing to stop Malrang looking for those follow-up ganks.
Well, we'll find out, because for the moment, pretty much as expected from the draft, Malrang once again at least showing presence in this middle lane. Nisqy hovering north as there's no ward south, and if he steps too close, stun as well as the flag and drag, neither going to land. That means Nisqy escapes with his life, gets a little bit of a trade here onto Larssen. Flag and drag comes forward just to dissuade the pressure further, and this is, again, I really like this play. Control Nisqy, put him on the back foot, prevent him or delay him trying to play for those side lanes. Level 5 at the moment, making his way towards that Weaver wall. And again, Malrang now very active on the map, pushing top lane.
Yeah, I think they might actually get a kill here. He snuck around the entrance red as Elyoya was hovering there, so Armut actually thinks he's safe. There's no jungler behind him.
Well, let's find out. Can the Demacian stand and Dragon Strike connect? No. Armut's going to be able to use that post-breath escape to safety. No real threat, but I love this from Malrang.
And every time Malrang's been going for this, the first time in mid, going up to top as well, he's just looking at the waves and saying, well, yeah, you're going to have to contest this wave. You're going to lose like a full wave going into it. So even though the kills aren't always being secured, or well, neither of them have been at this point, right? There's still something else being lost on Mad in terms of their laners and the amount of XP and gold that they're going to get.
Yeah, Malrang just bringing that early game strength to Rogue that we've seen kind of all year long. Normally it's the laners playing for the jungler, but now we've got a jungler mostly playing for the laners. Most other junglers adopting that similar kind of style, as Elyoya is going to start up the Drake because he has a small jungle CS lead and he's got the bot move first.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good kind of overall point for these two teams in terms of the identities that they started to forge themselves. It has really been Mad enabling Elyoya to be a wrecking ball, and Malrang doing the same for his lanes, and he's doing it again top.
This time around, connects, no flash, remember. Odo's going to be able to step forward, finds the slice and dice, throws down the Dominus, and Armut's now caught out, and he will be secured for first blood. Donated to Odo. Malrang, all of the work pays off.
Yeah, great knock up there, just cancelled the Ornn, so Armut really has no escape.
No.
And again, Odoamne in games versus Mad this year has actually done very well, even on matches where he's kind of just expected to passively gain advantages. He's starting to do pretty well, and now he's got himself a sizable CS lead, he's got himself a kill, and I'm expecting him to be a factor in this first game that Mad are going to find difficult to deal with.
I mean, talk about the win-loss as well between these teams in a moment, Nymaera, but look at that, damage per 564, damage percentage 30%, the CSD at 14 plus 19. Odo's had a great time versus Mad lines in their wins.
And particularly with a champion like Renekton, which is starting to crop up a little bit more too, you have to start asking, actually, in this first game, we were expecting the draft to be probing some defenses, seeing what are the power picks, what are the things which you prepared, and we need to start answering later in the series. Maybe this Renekton, if it is something into Armut's more bruisery, tanky champions that destroys their laning phase, maybe that's something which Mad need to think about later on, but of course we need to see how that evolves through this game.
I mean, the thing for me as well is that Rogue have won all 4 of the regular season matchups. Right now, they're in the advantage, got first blood, pushing forward onto Unforgiven. Cleanser's already used. Elyoya and Malrang making their way forward. Elyoya's gonna step out. Yep, pillar onto Comp, and Kaiser secures the kill. Now they turn their attention to Malrang, and Mad Lions punish the engage.
And while we were looking so much at top side, this bot lane was something for Mad that we wanted to see some advantages being gained. It's taken a little while, and in the individual 2v2, Mad haven't been ruining things, but getting that kill early, getting this Lucian with some extra gold and some extra advantages, that can very much help this composition.
Malrang's not done yet. He's fancying an engage, looking for the opportunity, knowing Flash and Cleanse were down, unable to make it work, but it will be Larssen that's the first to roam. And Armut, no flash, but Call the Forge God is available. It's not the biggest minion wave either. Can he clear it out? Trying to, locked up, stunned under the tower.
Wow.
And that is just Goomba stopped.
Easy, simple execution there by Rogue. Don't even break a sweat. Odo didn't have to ult, they didn't have flash for juggle, but his tanking was perfect. Uses the E to escape, and there goes another wave for Armut.
I think this is a beautiful start to the series for Rogue. Malrang has been literally everywhere. Larssen was the first to roam. He has been subjugated and now locked off by the Weaver's wall. Continues to get chased down, flashes away. And will be able to get chomped down, and Mad Lions do have a response.
And it's just a little bit of a lapse in timing from Rogue. Odo leaves the lane, he recalls, he teleports back mid to try and sort out the wave there, and Mad, when they see that teleport committed, go, well, this is a free play. And it's good to see that they're coming in heads up, responding to the right plays, and even though Rogue have had some good look-ins, Mad are responding in kind.
Definitely on, it's through their mid-jungle prowess. We saw them take away the red buff, Elyoya then moved towards bot, got the counter gank Israel safe in the 2v3, managed to punish Comp, and then they rotate towards top after Elyoya's base to get that kill. So it's the mid-jungle that's making sure this game is in balanced hands. Small gold deficit for now, but it's Rogue who have started up this Herald, and it looks like it's Rogue who will get this Herald for absolutely free, which is going to be a big gold swing.
Oh, I know, I'm so excited that game 1 has started as tense as it has, because Rogue have already shown up with the game plan that is very clear. Malrang trying to put Nisqy on the back foot, delayed. Larssen has already roamed earlier than maybe I would have anticipated or expected. But Mad Lions have been able to punish. Look, they've got multiple plates down bottom. They've got a dragon to their name. And with the lane assignments, Comp as well as Malrang and Trymbi are now going to put pressure on the top tower. while the bottom is continually sieged by Unforgiven.
Yeah, Armut doesn't have TP, so he can't stay here for much longer. If they try to go for a tier 2 top, he needs to cover it. I wouldn't be surprised if Nisqy kind of shadows towards top side soon as well, because Rogue have so much tempo here. This tower is dead. They can push for a second. Nisqy will need to cover this play.
Actually, a lot of interesting things happen with the top laners in this play, because Armut chose to sit around bot side, having that ultimate available to see if they could cross-map effectively against the Herald. But because he wasn't there, it's a large push in top side with no response to it. It's another charge onto the inner turret. And while Odoamne on the other side hasn't gained anything under that tower, Armut is starting to lose an awful lot on these side lanes.
I mean, take a look at that CS difference. 30 down, tower dropped, and with the Riptail boops, 1,000 gold lead in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, and the beauty of it all is Odoamne won't get dove on this bot tier one. He can catch the wave pretty safely as well. The idea of the lane swap is to defend the one defending the tower. He gave up 1 or 2 waves, came back and managed to pick up the third as Armut showed top. So he's sitting pretty happy. He's going to be able to push out this next bot wave. Might be very close to that Blade of the Ruined King as well.
Mad Lions, they only adopted the lane swap. Odoamne on the other side, he was brought it. He didn't see the 1v1 until he was already a man. And now he's sat here. And again, one of the great things about Odoamne is, you know, actually earlier this year, I think it was very close in spring after the teleport changes, which changed the way the top laners played early game. He was saying, actually, yeah, having so much experience as a top laner is really helping me right now, especially in those situations. You just have to have the experience, the knowledge of when you're safe and when you're not.
And Odo has so much experience. You'll see it in a second, just how much experience from spring 2022 all the way to spring 2015, top 3, top 4, top 2. Hasn't found the title yet, but he definitely has the experience that Rogue need in those kind of situations.
Can I just ask every viewer, if you're not paying attention to the table, take a second to look at that. Playoff finishes for Odoamne from spring 2015 to spring 2022. Third, fourth, third, second. Like, there's one of the most illustrious, successful careers you can have for a top laner without finding the title. And of course, Mad Lions are one of the teams that's denied Rogue as an organization. When you think there's these teams in playoff scenarios, Mad Lions, despite going 0-4 to Rogue this year, they do tend to show up in the best of 5s.
They definitely do, and although Odoamne does want that title, he's still quite a ways away.
Yes.
If they do win this, he's gonna have to win another 2 best of 5s to actually find his way to that title, so we'll wait and see if he can. But for now, in this game 1 of the first round of playoffs, he is ahead. He's got a pretty decisive lead up against Armut. He will get that blade on face soon. He will have side pressure. The biggest question is how he uses it to help the rest of Rogue.
Exactly.
We were talking about the isolation in draft, Nymaera, about how this is just the favorite side for Rogue.
Yeah, and this is great in terms of Odoamne in an individual matchup. You can see that's 1.3k gold lead in the individual matchup, but the problem with Renekton is not about laning phase. It's never been about laning phase. It's when you get to those team fights later on, are you just going to get shut down, kept out of the team fight, you lose your mobility because you don't have enough to get onto the backline, and he needs to use that advantage well.
Well, take a look, 2 dragons for Mad Lions. Team fights for that 3rd or 4th are definitely on the cards. A couple of mythics have been picked up if you look at itemization. Everfrost, the Shield Bow, as well as Gale Force and Imperial Mandate. So both teams 12 minutes in, trading blow for blow. It's about as even as you can get as far as the kills and the towers are concerned, but the dragon stacking is something in mind. 2 dragons at 12 minutes 50 is very early. And for this composition from Mad Lions, think of them with that Hextech Soul, think of them with the Ornn, Trundle, Nami team fights. That is a scary proposition to deal with.
Definitely is, and they want to lean into those team fights because Ornn can accrue his gold deficit with the unupgraded items, right? That can slowly bring back that deficit he will have against the Renekton later on, so they're looking for scaling, they're looking for team fights. They don't want to match any plays over sides because Rogue have this strong 1-3-1 which will win on both side lanes. Double TP coming up soon as well, and it's a problem for Nisqy because he wants to get this top tier 1, but without a tower behind him, without any kind of backup, there's no real way that he can find it, so we don't see any cross maps just yet.
I have to say, for Rogue, controlling Nisqy's roaming this game has been great. As we are already 13.5 minutes in, it's still very close, relatively tempered aggression from the teams. Caedrel, do you think this benefits one side of the Rift more?
I would say it slightly benefits Mad because the Ornn can catch up,
right.
But that's about it. He can catch wave safely and get the push in bot, but the problem is you're up against the Zeri Yuumi, right? So time favors both teams. Rogue are going to look for a fight.
Hijack the subjugate. Larssen's got some tanky steps, forced to flash defensively. The final chapter now starting to be thrown out as Tidal Wave whiffs and doesn't find a target. Nobody goes down, a lot of ult flown.
And Odo didn't have TP to join that, which means that he can't waste the TP. It's coming up very soon, and because nothing happens, Rogue get to keep him on the side lane, keep pushing in, and that might actually end up meaning that man seed their bot lane out of turret.
And Nymaera, it feels, you can see the tension. Both of these teams playing relatively risk averse.
But even in that fight, you can kind of see why you have to be risk adverse, because when you have the Trundle ult and then the stolen Trundle ult, someone is unexpectedly weak or unexpectedly tanky. That first kill can just blip out of existence.
Definitely can, and we can see the setup towards the top side of the map here. 30 seconds on the Herald spawn. Jarvan, Malrang gonna take a base now, maybe pick up a stopwatch. Pinks look for as much as he can because it looks like Rogue wanna force this Herald. Second Herald, maybe not the biggest objective, but it's the only one on the map right now, and it will be the objective that helps you on those cross maps, getting that bot tier 1, getting that mid tier 1 for Rogue in that sense. Does Mad Lions wanna match them? Does Mad Lions wanna fight back this early?
Well, and even for Mad, right, taking that top lane out of turret, you're talking about how Nisqy was really pushing in there, trying to find it. That Herald gives you a quick and easy way to do that. The question is, of course, whether they can win the fight to get to that point. You're actually at a point now where Mad have a lot of ultimates they can throw at it, but a lot of them are on cooldown, but they're still choosing to start it up.
Mad's starting it up. Armut has TP. Odoamne does as well. 2 levels down, Armut. We'll see if he tries to cancel Odo's TP or if both of them are going to arrive into this fight. Malrang has the EQ flash combo. Nisqy, no flash. Has to be careful here on the smite fight. Elyoya, can he get it?
So we're going to find out in a second. 1,000 HP secured by Rogue. It is gift wrapped by the Mad Lions. But on the exchange, Call the Forge Guard out, knocks up 2. Unforgiven is going to dash outside of the Cataclysm, pick up his first of the game. The hijack Call the Forge Guard delays the chase. Armut stays alive and escapes for now as Elyoya gets the second of the fight. Mad Lions are not done. They lost the Herald, but they have won the fight, and Odo is forced to run for his life. As well as the pillar. Beautiful from the Mad Lions.
That was a really good team fight from Mad Lions. Rogue, they funnel into this composition, and even though a lot of those cooldowns were kind of waiting to come back up from Mad, the fight goes on long enough that you get that tidal wave back, and that call of the Forge Guard just works so well here.
It did, and watch Malrang here. He manages to get the Herald, but I think he has a slight second of indecisiveness here where he stops and thinks, I'm gonna go in, but then he has no way out. I don't think he has his E up, so he's just stuck in a pit with all of Mad Lions. Tries to queue backwards, but no spear there. He dies, and then look at the other side of the fight where Armut's just knocking up Larssen and Comp. Both carries knocked up. Buying time, manages to survive. Mad Lions come out on top. Really goes to show some of the weaknesses of Renekton of a champion as well. If this was a multi-angle fight, Renekton's actually in the back line and not using his empowered W onto that Trundle, using it on someone like that Lucian instead, that's a very different fight. Doesn't work out that way though. Rogue play it front to back, no angles involved. Mad Lions take it.
As soon as we come out of this, Mad Lions are starting up on the Dragon, and I think I want to take a look at 3-0-1 for Elyoya on that Trundle. And the reason I find interesting is Malrang, I think, let's say, controlled the first 10, 12 minutes of the game. So much pressure onto Mad Lions. And when you look, kill participation at 14, when you look at the kills plus assists at 14, Malrang, this game started strong, but Elyoya has bounced back and had good counter punches.
And that is something we've seen sometimes from Mad Lions, actually, where Elyoya isn't actually always involved in a lot of the kills, because Nisqy's kind of papering over those cracks. Nisqy's the kind of guy that roam top in this game, gets the kill, gets the counter kill. Elyoya, all the same time, is building up a farm advantage, getting an individual lead, and when he comes online, he smacks even harder. Yeah, I think in this kind of game state here, where you're even, you're down 3 dragons against the scaling kind of teamfight comp, we've seen it already, it is favoring Mad unless Rogue can find those multiple angles. It's gonna have to be the comp show on this Zeri. It's getting towards that second item, still a little bit of a ways behind Unforgiven for now, but we know the damage Zeri can do in these team fights. I need the carries of Rogue to step up if they want to start fighting back against this Mad Lions.
How does that work for Rogue in 4 minutes and 20 seconds when the Soul is up? We are 18 minutes into the game. Soul will be up at 22, so how do Rogue win that fight? We're gonna find out.
Comp not dying.
Comp is in trouble. We'll be able to dash over the wall and escapes from the culling for now. Trymbi bottom blocks a few, but I'm gonna go back to that Rogue question.
The difficult thing for Comp is that in 4 minutes, he's not really going to be online still. You are looking at these solo laners for me in terms of the angles they have. They need to be finding the ways into the fight.
Oh, the Ultra Shock laser as well, the Cataclysm. Elyoya's locked inside
so
the tactical. It's so much work, and Unforgiven drops Comp. That is a beautiful shot from Nisqy to pick up another 7 kills secured. The mid tower will drop, and despite 10 minutes of great play from Malrang, Mad Lions have got 3 dragons, 7 towers. They're 7 kills, correction, and they are in absolute control.
They're dominating this game. They own the map. They own the fights. We see the skill expression just outplaying Malrang there on the engage. Elyoya lived for just long enough where Unforgiven could shine and take down the AD carry of Rogue.
And I think Rogue would have been fine if it weren't for these dragons. They didn't feel like they were forced to take these fights, break open the map, give themselves an advantage elsewhere, because they're sitting looking at a Hex Soul point. That Hex Soul coming online so soon. And though Malrang is starting to find some of these plays, I mean, doing it into this comp so hard to dive into. You go down the front, you're going to get punished.
You can understand why he goes for it, though. He EQs the wave, kills all the creeps, then ults Elyoya under tower and flashes out, hoping that the tower damage and comp will be enough for them to get that initial kill, but he just lives for way too long, and comp steps one step too forward. Unforgiven punishes him. You can see the idea, but it's Mad Lions again coming out on top.
Yeah, and Mad Lions this game, they've really just bent Rogue into their comp's playstyle, into what they want to be doing. It's not actually become about the Renekton. It's not become about this aggressive early game topside which Rogue had, maybe for a couple of minutes, but Mad, they stabilized, and now suddenly they get to play around their grouped units.
Right now, you can see the observers. They're well aware that the next fight will be in 2.5 minutes, so we're just following the second Herald, which had to get dropped in the base. So despite that being stolen away by Rogue, we're unable to really make use of it. You can see Mad Lions continually pressuring. Look at the vision, by the way, down the minimap, a number of wards littered inside Rogue's jungle because the soul is the priority.
Definitely is, and I just feel like time is ticking for Rogue. Jarvan, Renekton, Sylas, when you're behind in this kind of game state against things like Taliyah that shut down the engage, the Trundle, which is just going to make the Jarvan as squishy as paper, you're just going to get melted through straight away, and the Ornn on the enemy team slowly upgrading these items. Rogue are on a timer. They have to fight this Drake, and if they do win the fight, they need a Nash to get back in this game.
Yeah, and again, kind of talking about that Taliyah. Taliyah's now hit level 13, hit those 2 items. There's a huge amount of cooldown reduction onto that E. Your downtime when you're on Unraveled Earth at this point is like 2 seconds. You don't have large windows of time to make it, in even the best case scenario, into that backline. Nisqy, as long as you set up shop in the right place, Rogue are going to have a very difficult time landing the punches.
And Nisqy has to be the target, right? Lucian will just have way too much mobility. For now, Unforgiven doesn't have the flash, but I can think Nisqy's building towards that Zhonya, so the self-peeling tools will come in. And now Rogue are looking for a little bit of vision around this Baron. It's a dark map, and Mad Lions are hiding, waiting to pounce. Malrang extremely scared to walk in. Looks like they're going to try to contest this mid wave.
It's just such a tense, close game, but it feels like Mad Lions are in absolute control. Despite Nisqy being the focus of multiple ganks in the early game, he's up in CS, he's 1-0-4, he's ahead in the itemization
just Taliyah
game.
Things.
You know, but it's also just Mad Lions things, right? Because I think, crucially, their responses to Malrang's early pressure not only netted them kills, but ultimately they have not necessarily fallen behind in farm on either of their carries. I don't actually care that Armut's down 40 because the ornament's already starting to come in, and the power of that Call the Forge Guard has already been seen.
Yeah, it's been a very confident game from Mad, right?
Yes.
They didn't get flustered, they didn't go panic and go, oh, we've got to make plays, we've got to try and get this Taliyah back in the game. No, they just played out the game the way that they wanted to. They saw the opportunities when they were presented to themselves, and they didn't overplay themselves. They didn't overextend, pick the fights when they wanted them.
Here we go, 30 seconds on the Dragon. Looking at Mad Lions' positioning, they want to go for Nash if Rogue want to try to deny this Drake. We'll see what happens, though, because they're going to be the ones going towards this mid-wave. Armut's on the way up. Odoamne's not there yet, but he has the TP. Mad Lion's going to get this wave in now. Do they walk into the bot side? Yes, they do. They want to try to fight over this Drake instead of trading it for a Nash. They just want to get a little bit of vision in case Rogue tried to sneak it away, but they know exactly where Rogue are. And it's Rogue who have to walk in first. Odoamne's going to try to push out bot and come through bot. Armut's just finished the Frozen Heart. The Dragon is alive. Very tanky, though. Mad Lions grouped up. Rogue separated.
Rogue either conceded or did not challenge for all the previous Drakes. Mad Lions have already peeled away. Odo's the target. He's being culled. Manages to get the Ruthless Predator, but he's dropped in the bottom lane. Now in a 5 versus 4. Larssen has hijacked the Ornn ult, and Comp is still standing. Call of the Forge Guard is fired. Armut into his own. Elyoya is dropped. Kaiser is dropped. Keep your eyes on Comp. Where is he firing? Zapping away. Armut steps forward, but his Comp stays alive. He's dropping low. Knocked into the air. Nisqy with the double. Your Summer MVP turns his focus onto Malrang, is forced to flash the seismic shove, and Mad Lions may have just got sold.
I love the way that Unforgiven piloted the start of that fight. This Renekton all that advantage, solo him out before he can combo into someone else. Odo does not get to impact this fight, and Mad take a fight with an advantage after that point. Rogue play it out fairly well, but they're already down fighting power.
Really good target selection by Mad. They didn't want this Renekton to flank them if they were ever to get put in some kind of choke around their blue buff. Renekton would run rampant, and it's Malrang on the side here who found an incredible EQ onto Elyoya. Elyoya has flash, he has ult, but he instantly dies from the Ornn ult. Manages to hit Kaiser as well. Double knockup. Looked good for Rogue in the 4v5, but it's Nisqy who comes out on top. Armut with a fantastic ult to respond. And on picture-in-picture, on live, we've got another Dragon fight here because the soul didn't fall. Elyoya died. Mad didn't have a smite, so they had to reset. And looks like round 2 is on the horizon. Comp doesn't have ult yet. Odoamne, Malrang, the timers are just ticking. They need these ults to fight Nisqy.
Oh, what a great Weaver's Wall. That's bought enough time. Can Rogue get over it? 5,000 hit points. It's not dropping particularly quickly. The wall is now dropped. That's a reset on the Drake. The soul has been conceded. Rogue pour into the pit as a 5-man stack. Armut's low, but the Call of Forge Guard is up. Ultimate's coming alive for Odo, as well as Larssen in just a few more seconds. The culling doesn't do a huge amount. The Dragon continually resets. It's Armut that calls the Forge Guard first. Gets the knocker. The rest of the team's following with a tidal wave. Everybody from Rogue is flying. Malrang is down. He's dropped by Unforgiven as a 5v4 once again. But Comp with that final chapter, thanks to Trymbi, is looking for Nisqy. Unforgiven goes forward, but he's been exhausted. Comp shuts down Nisqy, and now the target is Unforgiven. Prowling projectile won't slow him in place, and Dragon's fully reset.
Oh, he got out!
He got out! How did he get out? Now the teleport into the bottom lane. The fight has not ended.
It has not, and they're going to TP in back for it. The 4 versus 4 continues. Can Larssen find an engage? Comp is so low. He doesn't have his ult. He doesn't have flash. It's on Larssen and Odoamne.
Oh, chasing. Larsen's going to be able to escape for now. Armut does not have the Forge Guard, and the Dragon has once again been started.
Man, are just playing, dancing on the edge of range. Odo hasn't been able to find the right target so far, and Rogue are fighting so hard to find that first target, but Mad aren't giving it to them easily.
Malrang is back, and he has Smite. Does Mad Lions know that? He's going to Hextech portal behind them.
The portal behind! Demacian standard as well as their flag. Not going to be up. Knocked into the air this time. Launched by the pistol. He's dead again. Mad Lions pick it up. Berlin, are you having fun? Mad Lions have got the soul.
Oh my word, that was a solid 2 minutes of team fighting, and poor Malrang, he can never really find an engage. The Taliyah just constantly shutting him down.
And Mad Lions team comp, it is totally online. The mobility, the zone denial, the ability to stop these dashes getting into the right places has been so powerful. Mad, they've managed to take so many fights this game, but they're just not a threat on the backline.
Definitely on. Look at Malrang here, just gets knocked up from Armut, and then the combo comes in from Nisqy. TP lands just in time, and he just stuns constantly. The same thing happened when he died the first time as well, so never really able to find an angle onto this Taliyah. And like you said, Hextech Soul picked up. Mad Lions' eyes now set on the Baron. They could look for a start and a turn with lots of flashes down on the side of Rogue. With an Ornn in the hands of Mad Lions, I think they might be confident to just start a 5v5.
Hunting. Elyoya's got your pillar. Not going to throw it down. Pushing him away instead.
Yeah, and if it was difficult to find the targets before this, imagine doing that now with a Hex Soul on top of that point. All it takes is a Lucian W to hit. You're all slowly looking for something. Same kind of thing with the Taliyah E. It's going to start spreading that chain lightning slow, the old static shiv across your entire team. And I don't think Rogue have got what it takes to find the targets now.
Look at this. Mad Lions, they're hunting. Because of that Hextech Soul, they've got so much power to work with. Combine that with the Nami Lucian and the lead that they have, 3,000 gold. Daring Rogue to step forward, baiting them because they cannot risk leaving that Baron unchecked. So it's going to be the route onto Elyoya. The Ice Pillar will slow people down. Call of the Forge Guard comes out. Larssen buys some time with the Hourglass. Tidal Wave whiffs. That's a knock-up into the air. Trymbi's forced to jump away. Larssen is already dead. Mad Lions find their 13th kill, and they can peel for the Baron.
And Rogue is so busy trying to sort out their waves. Odo's in topside trying to de-push those minions up there, and Mad see the opportunity to say, okay, that's a freebie. Take the engage.
Yeah, Rogue had to face check eventually. The Blue Orb came in a little bit late, and it was Larssen and Malrang fishing for information. But they found Elyoya and they died. Mad Lions might look for a turn here. Unforgiven is ready and poised.
Let's take a look. Culling is there. It's being channeled, firing down. Odo's already forced out. Has got the flash, has got the dominance. Baron still kept triggered by Armut. Down to 6,000, down to 5,000. Aqua Prison won't find a target. Malrang, no flash available to him. The Blast Cone is up as well. Gets caught by the seismic shove. Exhausted. Trymbi's going low. Malrang with the flash and drag manages to shut down Unforgiven for a gigantic
still on 2,000 HP.
Baron is slowly starting to trigger up. Comp wisely preventing it regen fully. Now Armut, his Call of Forge Guard gets hijacked once again. Larssen fires it, gets the knockup onto Nisqy, but nobody can follow. Nobody can take him down. Instead, it's Malrang that's killed. Nisqy is still firing away those threaded volleys again and again. Before this time, Larssen picks himself up a double. He's looking for Nisqy. He's got Yuumi on his back to help out, and that projectile will just fall short.
And Rogue, they choose to let go of the leash which had been given to them, fighting the fight afterwards, but the fight is not clean. Again, they are struggling to find these targets, and while Rogue is starting to find some kills here and there, you can see how hard they have to work for it.
Yeah, when you get the slam dunk onto Unforgiven like that, this should be their team fight. They play with a lot of confidence once they take away the Ornn ult when Larssen arrives, and it looks like they can just clean house. Nisqy gets hit up by an Ornn ult, has no flash. He looks as good as dead if Malrang can gap close, but it's this Taliyah E right here stops all of Rogue from being able to get on top of him, so him and Elyoya can kite back, take down Malrang, and make it an even fight still.
And I really feel like if they just go onto the Baron, you have the stolen Ornn ult at that point. Elyoya doesn't have that flash. I feel like you could just take the Baron, maybe play it defensively on your end for once, but they choose to go for that fight, and sadly it doesn't work out for them.
They're still up against the Hex Soul as well. The gold lead has shrunk a little bit, roughly 2,000 in Mad's favor. Comp has built towards those 3 items. We see 3 items coming across for all of these carries on the side of Rogue, but vision is what they need. There's no pink in the pit right now from Mad Lions, though, I think, so Rogue have all the information they need to take this slow.
Caedrel, is it Zeri time? 3 items completed, 30 minutes in. Just before that Baron fight, I was ready to throw game 1 away, so that's it. Mad Lions have won, clean, it's done. But Rogue have given me some hope now. I saw how they played out what was ultimately a 4v5. It's 2 minutes to Elder.
Yeah.
Mad Lions have to play for either Baron or Elder, and either of those buffs can also bring Rogue back into the game.
I think at this point, screw Rogue time. They need Rogue magic in this case because Unforgiven is so strong on this Lucian with a Nami right behind him with the Electrocute, with the Mandate. Hex Tech Soul on the culling is... It just stings, really, doesn't it? It just melts through anyone it touches.
First game of Summer between these 2 teams came down to the Elder. It came down to, oh, Rogue are out of it. Mad are certainly just going to win this. They're going to have to do that again now.
Well, can they find it as Nisqy will once again get that seismic shove? Odo is being melted. Take a look at Malrang. No flash available to him. Blast Cone is up. The Observer's doing such a great job of showing the vision. Malrang will be stepping forward, pops that control ward into the pit. Malrang's looking for that flank opportunity. Cataclysm available to him. Mad have turned every previous fight and they're doing it once again. Unforgiven throws out the culling. All of the Forge Guard by Armut will get a knock-up onto Larssen, but it is Odoamne that's been singled out at the cost of Odo. So for 1 to Mad Lions, but Malrang's looking to get at least a reply back, and the troll will just about be taken out. He survives! He survives because of the subjugate! The heal keeps him up. Unforgiven gets slowed up and locked down, and it's 1-2 more for Nisqy. Comp is the last man standing in a 2v5. Taking a look at Elyoya is coming in from behind. Comp forced a flash.
Can he do it?
Barrier still up.
Can he do it?
Firing up the zaps to the zaps, one after the other. So many low. For the first. Continuing to chase. Looking for the second. He gets away from the Aqua Prism. The second secured. Comp is looking for a third. Looking with a probably projectile. Armut's going to be the next one to fall. He gets a blast gun away to safety. Dashes out. Slowed down underneath the wall. Crit, crit, crit. Comp gets a third.
Certified Zeri moment. Rogue magic, you wanted it? Comp's got it.
Comp definitely has. We said he needs to do Zeri things. We said the Zeri needs to come online. You even asked it, Trevor. 3 items. Yes, he has. 20 seconds on Nisqy, 20 seconds on Elyoya. They're going to start up this Elder. Larssen doesn't have the TP up just yet. Comp is going to push in midwave. He has no mana. Rogue are going to secure this. I think Mad Lions have double TP on their solo lane soon. Can Unforgiven and Kaiser be the heroes of Mad?
Let's fucking go! Tidal wave thrown inside the pit. Elder Dragon with 5 members of Rogue being faced down by 2 members of the Mad Lions. The Aqua Prison knocks up 2. Unforgiven is exhausted. He cleans that one away. Now the Elder's down. 2,000. Weaver's Wall will cut them off. It's secured by Rogue. But at what cost? Comp is already down. Larssen may fall next, and he does. But Rogue prevent the Elder going to Mad Lions.
Okay, right. Dragon's down. At what cost? I mean, Baron is still alive, so I guess Mad gonna go take that one for free after this point, shove in some waves. I actually don't know whether this works out for Rogue in the long run because their waves are against them. The Baron's going to get taken. They're now locked into their side of the map. Those fights they've been finding, magical, wonderful. Try finding them with 0 vision and 0 waves pushing in your favor.
20 seconds on Comp, 20 seconds on Larssen. They'll have about a minute of this Elder Dragon in terms of having people on the map, having something to play for. Mad need to play very, very reserved now. They need to stand in their base, wait for this Elder to fall off. And it's this team fight here where Rogue just look done for. They look wiped, but it's the Comp show.
It's the Comp show, but the reason he is allowed to do this is because Rogue split enough that the ultimates are used on different areas of the battlefield, and Comp has enough mobility with just his E, just the Yuumi, to avoid the rest of the things after that point. Mad, they fire everything in an attempt to win the fight in the first few seconds, and they don't catch the AD carry at 3 items.
They definitely don't. Comp keeps his stacks here, I believe. Unforgiven thinks he has a turn with the Taliyah, even Comp flashes away, and Elyoya
Such a good
is the first victim after Nisqy gets hit by the W, I believe. That's the first kill to give Comp the confidence to just keep going, and what the Mad do, Unforgiven can't turn. Armut just uses E backwards. There's no way to stop this Zeri wreaking havoc on Mad Lions.
In my very first LEC show, I talked about Zeri a little bit, and she's changed a lot as a champion since then, but one thing stayed the same. Doesn't always do the most damage in the game, but you can never stop Zeri doing damage.
Definitely, and 50 seconds on this Elder. Rogue they ideally just want to flash on them, jump on them on this tier 1 and just go for the fight, but how? How do you do that? There's no real gap close. Larssen has the ult now, Malrang's around. It's a grouped up 5v5 Aram. Odo has flash, Malrang has flash, Unforgiven and Nisqy don't. They have a 30-second window if they want to kick this fight off.
The way this game started, slow, tempered, controlled. Both teams trading blows respectfully. Now it has just evolved into team fight fiesta. And the Berlin crowd has just become electric with the chatter, the energy of the fight. And Rogue, they're on the front foot. Remember, that Elder's doing work.
And you can see Mad Lions are so scared. They're counting every single second. 10 seconds left, and Mad Lions will be the ones to engage.
7 seconds left on Elder. Can Rogue make it work? No, Call the Forge Gods are traded back and forth. But Odo's the first to fall, and Comp's dashed over the wall with that spark. Aqua Prison won't lock anyone up. Now the Elder has dropped. It's Baron time, baby, and Mad want to use it. Got themselves a minute of this buff to push. Nearly to the second. Elder drops, Mad back in
and
control.
it's literally, you see that timer ticking down and suddenly it's like, all right, let's just draw all the lines on the map. You got one Call of the Forge God, you got a second Call of the Forge God, the Weaver's Wall, and Mad Lions draw a line straight towards the enemy base.
Odo's up in 30 seconds. Mad have this Baron for... Oh my god, that damage from the Zeri. I think that stops the siege in his tracks right there and then. So now, with 3 minutes on this next Elder Dragon spawning, that's when the next fight will kick off. I think the game will slow down a little bit more now that this Baron will wear off on the base.
And Rogue, they are just refusing to give Mad this first victory over them this year. Again, 0-4 across the entire year. Best of ones, sure, 2 of them from Spring, but they fight so hard. And in this one, this looks so done. For Rogue to come back from this, it speaks of real discipline.
The thing is, I still obviously feel this is Mad Lions' game. They're in control, they've got the soul, you know, they have an advantage in towers. The thing is, those last few fights, Rogue have found a way to make it work. And crucially for me, this is a 4-item Zeri with FLICKR going to be online for the fight as well as stopwatch. So for me, it comes down to Mad Lions versus Zeri. Those are the two things that determine who's going to win.
That's basically it.
And Zeri has an extra item in Yuumi. You know, that helps. There you go. You've got the both summoners up on Trymbi. Yeah, you don't have the barrier up just yet, but you have the flash up. That is so much combat potential in one person on Rogue.
Okay, so Caedrel, Nymaera. Set up these next 2 minutes. I'm looking at Vision, Mad Lions for the previous Dragon. They did try to push that Vision, which was contested and challenged by Rogue. How do we see the setup?
Yeah, Mad can play mid to bot here for this bot tier too, but they're kind of waiting on Elder. All they want to do is hold this bot side control for the next minute and 30 seconds, force Rogue to face check into them, keep mid and bot push, and then start up the objective and look for a turn. But Rogue don't really want to leave their base till that Elder spawns either, so it's almost like this awkward stare down. Yeah,
because Mad don't want to overpush themselves, right? Go too far, because Zeri W's is a threat. You go too far and the engage comes.
Larssen is trying to chase further and will just get pushed out by that Weaver's Wall. Comp firing those Ultra Shock lasers through the wall, so that's a commit. That's the hijack down. I'm going to take a quick look at the cooldown. It will be available in 35 seconds before the next fight begins.
Yeah, Rogue keeping Mad on their toes there, just making sure if they look for this engage mid, are your members ready to respond? We don't see them. They're in our jungle somewhere, but maybe one of them based, and now you've made a big blunder by fake pressuring this mid wave. 1 minute left. Timer's ticking, stopwatches, elixirs, pinks, everything you've got, and see if it sticks.
Yeah, but the bonus of this, where you're just hammering into Rogue's base, is Rogue haven't had the chance to push up, put wards down. You're not going to have teleport flanks coming in from Sylas and from Rogue, and that means you have to get creative. Odo's looking for something, but again, Matt just keeping the battle lines, not making it easy.
No, they're not. I get a little nervous every time I see Odo left on the side because he's been turned into boots more times than he can count throughout the course of this game. 39 seconds until Elder is up. Mad Lions continue the siege, but Malrang could look for a flank. Armut gets the 2-man, the prison as well. Comp is down with Zeri down. Mad Lions are emboldened to push forward. Malrang goes in, Malrang goes out, and Unforgiven drops him in the jungle. It's over here for Rogue as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 members have fallen. Mad Lions with the ace are inside Rogue's base.
And they're going to find their first victory over their rivals, Rogue, in this best of 5, in this year. And it comes from Armut. He spends the entire laning phase getting dunked on, finds the crucial knock-up in that fight.
You'll be forgiven for thinking Unforgiven doesn't like Lucian. 10, 1, and 10. Mad Lions strike first against Rogue.
Woo! Sweat dripping off the forehead there a bit, even though they had a Hextech Soul, they won a massive fight, they were ahead. The Baron was a little bit shaky, Rogue had angles back into it, and we thought an Elder Dragon fight would come again, round 2 on the Elder Dragon, but no. Massive knock-up from Armut onto Comp, follow-ups there, quick ace in bot, and they're managing to close the game.
How good are this team at team fighting, you know? There was never a point in that game where Mad were just completely blown out. They were so good at just reforming their battle lines. They never gave easy access to their carries and pounced on the targets that presented themselves.
Now, does the game play to your expectations of how this would work? We have a moment to reflect. I thought Malrang and Rogue's early game looked okay, but ultimately Mad Lions had an answer to everything, and once they arrested control, they didn't concede it.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of the Jarvan. I think something like a Trundle or a Poppy or Wukong, something some kind of ideal S tier pick for Malrang would be better. Or either that, or you remove this Taliyah, because this Taliyah was way too big of a problem for what Rogue wanted to do.
I personally don't mind the Jarvan. If there's another kind of diving champion as well, maybe a Rakan can help out. Actually have a secondary form of engage. Get everyone in there at the same time. But it on its own, yeah, it really struggled to hit the mark.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll see what Rogue choose. You know, they're going to go back onto blue side. It seemed to work. Blue side is favored for most of these teams. And when it comes to these first pick, do they want to give over the Lucian Nami? Do they want to play it themselves? They're going to weigh up what options they want to go to in the second game.
See, this is where we now get to look at the meta, the gameplay evolved within the course of the BO5, and also try to figure out what these teams have been practicing outside of that Zeri Lucian, which caught us a little, not by surprise, but nice adaptations from regular season. Anyways, man, take down Rogue for the first time this year, and they take that first step towards round 2. We'll be back in the next game after this. Don't go anywhere.
Even the biggest champ needs a break.